So I promised Big Red and I promised my followers a vlog. So here it is. I am Elise. And I was born into what I believed was a normal Christian family in a little town called McMinnville, Oregon. In 1986. My parents had been married for 19 years, and as far as I knew, they were happy. That's what I believed as a child. And when I was 4, I came inside from playing, and my mom sat us down at the table, and she said to me, pack a bag, because if Dad comes home drunk, we're going to leave. And from that night forward, I never knew where I was going to wake up. Sometimes it would be in a hotel. Sometimes it would be in a car down the street. But for the most part, I didn't know. My mother was also an alcoholic, and my father was one too. My father was verbal about his alcoholism and his drug addiction. He never seemed to care to hide it. My mom, on the other hand, is 70 years old on hospice care, and she still refuses to admit that she is an alcoholic verbally. It breaks my heart because that's all I ask for her to do is admit it and heal, but she refuses. What happened to me as a child shaped me. A lot of people ask me, how did you make it through? What did you do? And in all honesty, the way I was able to make it through was my grandparents. My grandparents were my rock. When I needed help, they were there. And they were faithful about taking me to church, keeping me, on a path. They never pushed it on me, but they reminded me that God has a path and I'm not on it. Often they reminded me of that, but they never pushed it. My grandparents are my saving grace. I saw true love when I looked at my grandparents. I saw the way that my grandpa looked at my grandma, and I desired that. I wanted that. It wasn't what I saw when my parents looked at each other. When I got a little bit older, I was told by my mother that she did not want me. She had never wanted me. And that actually when she gave birth to me, my parents were separated because she was trying to give me up for adoption. And she held this over me for a very long time. And what I found out as an adult is that, she has her own pain with her own kids. And I think she was scared. And I think that she saw her trauma when she saw me. And she didn't want to see that trauma. And so I have realized as an adult, it's not me that she doesn't want. It's the reminder that she didn't want. And, it's taken me 35 years to come to that realization, but I'm there. So my parents officially divorced when I was 6. That was some fun years. I mean, in that time, my mom ran my dad over with the car. There were a couple times we were driving down the road, and my dad was in the passenger seat drunk, and my mom slammed on her brakes, and his head went into the windshield. Oh yeah, that was some fun, exciting times. But nobody knew. Nobody really knew what was going behind the scenes. Even as an adult, I mean, I was 35 years old and had to look my grandmother in the face and tell her that her own daughter is an alcoholic and that my childhood was hell. And, she would ask me, why didn't you say anything? Well, because the threat was always, if you say anything, you won't be able to see Grandma and Grandpa. So why would we say anything? We just endure the pain while we're at home and enjoy paradise when we're at Grandma and Grandpa's. So there are 4 of us that are living. I have 3 siblings that have passed away. That's a whole nother story. So out of the four of us, there is one that is the favorite, takes the cake. So he is what they call a recovered SIDS baby. He has a bunch of health problems, and my mom always catered to him, and she still does. He is 40 years old, and he's an alcoholic. He causes more issues and more problems. He's a narcissist. He is trouble, and he's honestly probably one of the main reasons why I have chosen to not have a relationship with my mother. I really truly can't even claim him as my brother. It is very hard for me to do. I don't have hatred for him, but I have a lot of dislike, and I have no desire to have him in my life. Sorry, phone call. I'm going to ignore it though. I know this isn't very professional. This is my first blog, and as it goes on, I hope to get better about it. But, so there's four of us, and Galen, he, yeah, really takes the cake on that one. He's just, those brothers or those sisters or those siblings that just like, they're just toxic. That's him. My whole life, he caused problems. He constantly was lying and going behind my back, getting me beat, getting me in trouble. It was horrible. So he didn't like to go to Grandma and Grandpa's as much as I did. So I would go there because mostly to get away from him and my mom. My dad, I didn't have a relationship with. I did not know him until I was 18. And I would see him around town. He would be panhandling, or he would be, drunk on the side of the road, which was hard for me to swallow because when I was a baby, we owned one of the most outstanding construction companies in the town that I grew up in. And then as an adult, or as, a teen, I see this man that I used to look at and think he was so strong, and now I'm watching him get picked up off the side of the road. So that was trauma in itself. My mom was trauma. And I held on to it for a long time, and I never learned how to deal with it. And I would have anger outbursts, and I was not a fun person to be around, and I struggled with anxiety, and I struggled with not knowing who I was. I was overweight. I was unhappy. My mom constantly reminded me how overweight and unhappy I was. So when I was 16, 17, I decided I was going to move out. I was done. So I went to my grandparents and I asked my grandparents if I could move in with them, and they did. They let me move in with them, and I got a job, and I worked full time, and I went to school full time, and I graduated, and I had the most amazing senior year in high school. And I thank my grandparents so much for giving me that time to heal and time to be able to see what a normal family and a normal situation was like. I wasn't home, but it felt more like home than I had ever experienced. So there's a short blurb of my life from birth to 18. I will get more into it as I get more comfortable with this.